Audiences have been great. I think people are really excited to be out in a post-COVID world. They're appreciative when we come to the town, and they're appreciative that we put on a good show. And I think that, like, they're getting that energy in return from us. And I think, but more than anything, I'm appreciative of their energy. Like, I'm just excited to be out working again. And it was a long couple of months in that COVID world, so.
With the pandemic and everything else going on in the world and maybe in your life, what's been going on with you, your family? How's it affected your career, COVID? How's everything been going with that fan?
It's been crazy. I got married at the beginning of the pandemic, and
Nice.
we're still married, amazingly. My wife, Katie, she's great. And, we stopped the pandemic just in time for whatever's going on in Europe right now. That's fantastic.
It's one after the other, right?
Yeah. And I'm being sarcastic, by the way. I think it's a
Right.
terrible thing that's happening overseas, as you know.
I heard something's going. I'm not even sure. I'm in a bubble. Is there another war going on?
You don't know?
I've heard something about it. All I know is, seriously, I am not ordering any more Russian escorts here in Tampa. They are off the list.
Yeah. It's a weird time. It's very strange. We had that very strange 2-year pandemic, which we're at the tail end of right now. And then now there's the whole unfortunate thing with Ukraine. And I hope, we all hope that all this stuff will stop, as you know.
Yeah, but it's definitely a lot better than it's been the past 2 years. It's way more consistent. I think even this past December, that was like the first time I had 3 weeks in a row of work since since the start of everything,
Yeah, so your whole thing is, you're on the road constantly.
Most comics work the road like I live on it.
I know. I hope it's not Corona. I already had that, so I don't think it is. It doesn't feel like it.
John Jacobs rolling with the Rona.
I know.
Well, I blame the whole pandemic on Tom Brady. During the pandemic, I actually got a job. Everybody else was taking unemployment. My dumb ass. Well, I was stuck at home with my kids. I was like, maybe there's somewhere else I could be. For Amazon for a short period of time.
Okay.
Which was people I was a hero, Pat. Do I have my cape on? Do I have my cape? Thank you, heroes. I'm like, listen, a fat, stoned, out-of-work comedian that brings you a Keurig is not a hero, okay? No. Tom Brady is a hero. And this whole mask thing on the plane, and it's just, so this year I kind of stayed around here.
What happens? You're on top of the world doing what you do for years. What happened in the life of Vince August when that pandemic started?
Well, it was crazy because the last show I did that wasn't warm-up was at Westbury in Long Island.
Wow.
Which, if you know it, it's in the round. It couldn't be any more of a petri dish for COVID that if you tried to create one.
Right.
And here we are. So when you walk out of Westbury, you literally walk and there's people high-fiving you as you're walking past them. So you're getting touched by everybody. And we just kind of got the hint that it was out there.
Uh-huh.
So as everyone's high-fiving us, I walk straight back to the dressing room and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wash my hands just to be safe. Because, the fear just started.
Yeah.
The next week, I go to the Daily Show, and I'll never forget, it's Thursday, March 12th. And the executive producer's like, look, you know what? We're going to have to shut it down. They're saying it's going to be 2 weeks for this flatten the curve thing. We think it's going to be a little bit more. I'm like, look, I got relatives in Italy. This thing is bad. It's March. Trust me, we're not going to be back before May. In fact, I'm going to go because Trump's the president. I think it's going to be irony. I'm going to say Cinco de Mayo, the country's back. And I thought I was going long. And man, did I miss. So, and it was, I have to tell you, everything came to a crashing halt. We had 60 more tour dates on the tour with Trevor. The show was going great. I'm on a fast track to get to, I list all of the shows I've ever done. I have a diary that I write every show down in. Mm-hmm. I'm on my way to 3,000 shows. Not a big deal for most people, but for me, I don't know. I grew up a Roberto Clemente fan. 3,000 hits. I'm trying to get them a 3,000 show.
Nice.
And then the next thing you know, there's nothing. And the worst thing I did, Pat, was I put that May 4th date in my own head. because I was good for March, April. I started making videos trying to keep people laughing. May, I was doing the same thing. I crashed in June 2020. That's when I was like, shit, we're in trouble. This thing isn't open. And in New Jersey, you know, we had the lockdown of all lockdown guys, Murphy, who he wasn't giving an inch. He didn't care about science. He went with the fear approach that everyone else. And I'm not saying it was wrong in the sense if I get why he did what he did. I don't get the nursing home thing between him and Cuomo, whatever. That's a whole different political discussion. But we knew we weren't opening. We knew we were done for a while.
COVID stopped the bank, like, completely. No more shows. That source of income was thrown out the window. But it taught me that I could survive without it, and it showed me what's really important. So I started reevaluating my entire life as far as what means the most to me, like as far as my family in those situations. So now it makes me think twice about gigs. Like, well, you know what? Whereas I would take everything that was shot my way, now you got to think about it. Oh, you're exposing yourself to possibly COVID, and you can get sick, and it'll stop you from performing for a couple of weeks. So now I try to think about that when I take a gig. So if it's close to me, you know, I'll do it because I'm home. I can be home, but a lot of stuff that I would take before, I just won't do it now.
Yeah, and I know because we talked about that because a couple of times, even a couple of months ago, one of my Comedians Uncorked shows, I think it may have invited you, or I just said, "Hey, are you doing anything?" Because I really haven't even seen you much on social media, and you're like, "I'm just kind of laying low right now, man." And that's not a bad thing. I know a lot of comedians, even our New York and LA buddies and stuff like that, who were hurting for work. Some of them are like, I'm just going to have to maybe just get a real job for now and just kind of lay low a bit. You're engaged. So when are we looking at?
We're hoping this year, but but she's got a pretty big family, and with COVID either ramping up or ramping down, like we don't know if we should bring everybody together. I'd feel horrible if we kill grandma on a lovely day.
Right.
What's going on with comedy and you and like the touring stuff? Like, how are you handling everything right now?
It still feels weird.
Yeah.
But I can feel with the crowds, like the shows are selling out again. And, I can feel that people are over it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just like, good God, give it to me or whatever, and people really want to get out and laugh. So I've been doing it's been a weird year. Like I'm doing some shows with John Reap, these Reap and Reno shows. I'm doing shows with Josh Arnold, the Bob and Tom thing. I'm doing a couple shows with Cletus T. Judd in West Virginia where he was on the radio. And, it's people are coming out, man. I mean, they're packing them in. So it's fun. It's a great, you can look at it. You can look at the negatives or you can look at the positives. The positives are, I feel like we're coming out of it. I feel like people are at a point where they're like, I'm going to live my life, and I don't think it's just comedy. I mean, I think it's every business has just been trounced. So it's like, let's go do something, man. We can't just sit around for the rest of our lives. And
I'll be back on the horse here soon. I'm just getting over the vid. I got the vid a couple weeks ago, and so once I get healthy, I'll start back up again. It feels good.
How is it affecting your life? But how are you getting around it with COVID going on?
Everything is going good. I mean, it kind of slowed down a little bit during the holidays because everyone started getting sick again and everyone was getting scared. Numbers started rising, which we don't know if it's real or not anymore or whatever. We don't know what to believe. All we know is that it does affect shows. It does affect work. It affected the HaHa for a little bit. It slowed us down a little bit. But overall, my parents are good. My family's good. My kids are good. I'm good. And I'm having a baby on the way. I have a baby on the way.
Oh, wow.
What?
Nice.
So
Congrats.
that's some great news. I need to do this today. I got to go out there and get this. I got to book a commercial. It's just a constant grind. And now that she's pregnant right now, I have that push again. I kind of lost it a little bit because of COVID. It really freaking slowed me down. But now I have that fire, the eye of the tiger. It's back,
Yeah, it's funny with Netflix. Like the first time I ever
really caught up to Netflix was like the pandemic, where I finally saw all the shows people would bring up to me. I watched everything, dude. Pat, I watched season 2 of that Yule Log Fireplace.
I love it. It just always seems the same to me, but it makes me feel good.
Every Monday. So after a year, I started getting on the mic thing, and then kind of like the pandemic happened, so that kind of been shut down. But an opportunity came at the Laugh Factory when the pandemic was happening. They were doing this YouTube thing where they would like film comedians, and no one was in the audience, and they wanted to do like 20 minutes. And a lot of their regular guys that they both didn't want to do that, feel that they didn't feel that. But I was like, I'll do it. So I don't care. I'll do it.
It was just like an empty room.
It was an empty room, and they put it on YouTube. But you're telling jokes to an empty room for like 20 minutes, like nothing. So, but
it's like open mic.
Yeah, basically. So I did that. I met a couple of people, started hanging out.
Oh man.
Yeah. Have you guys experienced it any at all? COVID? Have you gotten it?
I don't know if I had COVID, but I was sick like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, to me, it felt like I had a cold, my annual cold. But nowadays, you don't know.
Yeah, you never know.
Like, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I never lost like taste or anything like that or smell. So
I did have it for about 8 days or so, 9 days in like late August, early September of last year. I don't know where I got it. I remember actually I was eating at Snappers with my girlfriend, and it was a Tuesday night, and I dropped her off, and just on the way home, out of the blue, just got chilled.
Wow.
Couldn't get warm. And then and she's vaxxed. I'm not. And the funny part is she had like a little rash on her legs, which was like one of the side effects if you had the vaccine and may have had COVID. So she goes,
oh, shit.
I could have given it to you, Pat. She goes, just by kissing, I could have given it to you. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But at 8-9 days, I lost smell and taste for a few days, but thank God everything was fine. And then my doctors told me that right now, plus I got that monoclonal antibody shots.
Oh yeah, those are supposed to be like where it's at.
Yes, so I got it, but you have to do it while you're sick, which I did. And my doctor and then my other friend's doctor both said, right now your antibodies are pretty, even though you're not vaxxed, they said your antibodies are pretty darn strong right now for just in general. So I said, okay, I'll take that for right now. But I mean, knock on wood, I got through it pretty okay.
Yeah, me too. It was weird though.
I mean, honestly, out of all the like places I've been to, I feel like LA took the longest to get back to normal, and I don't even know. Yeah. I mean, who knows what normal is anymore? But I still feel like it's not there 100%. It's at like 92% right now. A lot of shows like disappeared. Slowly, new ones came in to replace it, and so that's why it's almost back to normal. But it was weird. It was weird for a long. It's still weird, but it was really weird for a long time.
Well, I guess was it a day job? Like I never knew you did this kind of woodwork and like construction. I see you doing videos with like bobcats or bulldozers. Where'd you get this from?
So what happened was, first of all, when you quit drinking, your brain, like I probably drank a lot because my brain just freaking spins, dude. Like I can't sleep at night.
Yeah.
Like, so I have to wear myself out to be able to rest and just shut my brain down. So we started doing it for a couple weeks. We were trying to sell a show, a construction show, and my buddy's a contractor.
Right.
So I went out, we filmed for 2 weeks and I was working. Well, I never knew, especially the past couple of years, whether my clubs and theater shows were going to go. I mean, I could be on the way to the airport on a Friday morning and they call and go, hey, show's canceled tonight. Somebody got COVID, whatever.
Right.
So my buddy's like, dude, if you want to work and come in and work with me, have at it. We can try for a couple. And I ended up doing it for almost 2 years. Like,
wow.
But it was, so I'd work Monday through Thursday construction, then Friday morning maybe, and then go to clubs, work Friday and Saturday, Sunday, come back Sunday night, and then Monday morning I was back at work. But dude, it was more therapeutic than anything. And financially, my kids aren't going to stop eating because of this stuff. I got to do something.
True. This has been going on since about 2016.
Yeah, 2015, 2016, I believe. I was trying to remember if this is the 6th annual or the 5th annual. We took a 2-year hiatus, obviously, because of COVID.
Right.
So this is our first one back since. So I can't, I mean, you know, with the 2 years behind us, the time frame is so wonky that who knows, you know?
Yeah.
Started doing Zoom gigs. Man.
I know.
Not fun. Then I got lucky. I got a couple writing gigs through Trevor and his management team to keep me going, to give me work, you know, keep my brain sharp.
Cool.
So that kind of kept me alive to the end of the year. And then 2021, oh, Jesus, sorry about that. And then 2021, it was just, you know, let's find anywhere we could to do comedy. And then it became, you know, you're doing it in a park, you're doing it outside, but people were still terrified of coming back.
Yeah.
And I remember I opened the one club, its first show, Comedy Cove, and we had a max capacity of 25 people because we had the requirements here in Jersey, and we actually got 25 people in, and the comedy owner, you know, was barely being able to pay us. I'm like, dude, give me half.
Right.
Give me half of what you normally would. We all got to work together.
Right.
And he never forgot it. He's like, dude, you have carte blanche to come here whenever you want, work stuff out. Once we're back full force, boom, this is your place. Then I had a friend of mine whose restaurant took a beating. They lost, obviously, all of their restaurant business. Then the building next door catches fire. Fire department puts out their fire. The water floods their basement, which is where all their inventory is. It's an Indian restaurant. Indian spices are not easy to come by. You pretty much got to get them from overseas. So they lost everything. So when they started opening, I'm like, hey, you want to try something together? How about on Thursdays I come here, a stool, a microphone, a speaker, no cover, no nothing, your food, my laughs, and we pass around a hat at the end. And I would sit there and just riff. Sometimes it was for an hour, sometimes 45 minutes, whatever made the people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And this became a regular thing, and they were getting business, and I was getting a chance to do stuff. And it wasn't until September 2021 that things really opened. And then it became a question of, look, man, do I want to go to the city and run around chasing $25 spots, $50 spots,
right,
$75 spots where there was no parking because every restaurant had a vestibule outside. So now you got to pay to park, pay to go in. Gas prices are going up. Or do I just keep doing my thing here in Jersey? So I kept doing my thing in Jersey, was writing. The tour came back a little bit. We had some dates. And it wasn't until this year that The Daily Show came back. And now, you know, we're finally in full swing.